Good afternoon and welcome to a slightly different episode. We've got an update of something slightly different in our area, and we want to just go and have a look, see if we can find it for you guys.
Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, so we're starting to see some evidence of what's coming up in these vultures in the trees. So vultures, when you get a lot of them like this, it's usually a sign of a carcass, and that is what we have heard about. It's an elephant carcass. We've not been there yet. We don't know what's coming up, so we don't know if there's any activity. But let's go and find out.
So you can see behind me we have got the elephant carcass that we have found. It is for a younger elephant, probably around 3 or 4 years old. The carcass is a few days old. It has been fed on, but there's still quite a large amount of meat left. Unfortunately, this elephant was tusked by an older bull, we think. No one actually saw it happen, but from the wounds that were visible, it looked like a tusk wound. Sometimes the younger elephants can cause a bit of irritation in amongst the older bulls, and he might have just pushed him, and not knowing his true strength actually had hurt him quite severely to quite a fatal injury. And then unfortunately the reserve had to put the elephant out of its misery, as it was not human caused, so they won't try and treat it, and at that stage unfortunately it was too far gone for that. So the sun is setting now. Not much activity besides the vultures that have headed up to roost to where they're going to spend the evening before they come down to feed again in the morning. We're going to move out, and hopefully this evening when we do come back we're lucky with some more of the nocturnal animals. So sitting very patiently now, and we're very fortunate to have quite a very special animal that's come and join us, which is a side-striped jackal. A little bit more of a nervous scavenger, a little bit shyer, and that's probably why he hasn't yet fed on the carcass. He might be a bit more cautious of there being hyenas or maybe a lion or a leopard around the area, and he'll just be making sure before he gets tucked in and he sort of loses his senses when he is feeding.
So we did a little loop around just to give some time to see if anything arrived at this carcass after that jackal, and the hyenas have come out. So they're busy grappling and feeding this carcass now, but they look a bit nervous. So they keep looking up, having a look around. They can smell or hear something that our dull senses aren't able to detect. Look at that. Look how they're tearing that leg apart. So those thick muscles on their necks, they support very powerful jaws. They have one of the strongest bite forces in the animal kingdom, and they use that to get into the bone marrow and break open those bones. So hyenas have a fascinating social structure. Their society is dominated by females, so that's what we call a matriarchy. All the females are dominant. And look, here comes, we've got another fourth member now. So these are probably all part of the same clan. They're not actually fighting really amongst themselves. There's a lot of meat to go around. So they're part of what we call a clan. But they are still looking a little bit nervous. They're checking around, like I mentioned before. So it's most likely for another clan of hyena, which is why they're not whooping. When you sometimes see hyena making a lot of noise at a kill, they're whooping and they're calling in their fellow clan members. But these guys actually don't want to advertise that they've got a big meal here to the other hyena in the area. They're trying to keep it for themselves.
I think a really, really incredible sighting, although something extremely difficult to watch sometimes. We've got to think about nature here, and we've got to take away that when humans intervene, it sort of messes up the balance in nature, and it's sometimes best to let nature be nature. In this case, it's allowed the hyenas to come in and get their dinner, as well as the side-striped jackal, which we were very fortunate to see come in, and earlier in the afternoon, the vultures that would have fed him. And these are just a small amount of the creatures and animals that will come in and benefit off of this carcass.